Hey there, this is Enea from BTC Treasuries X community. Today we're going to talk about US stablecoin Masterstroke. First, a reminder, this is never financial advice, don't trust, verify, and follow us on our X community for more. We are the BTC Treasuries X community. There are 7,000 members and growing every day, and a lot of insights are shared there from many people. So, I don't know if you have been paying attention, but a lot of things are happening in US that somehow are building a sort of story that we can start to read. We see that Tether launches a new stablecoin, USAT, and they put Bo Hines as the former White House crypto advisor as a CEO of this new venture. At the same time, Trump is regulating stablecoins so that they can be used in US, and he's opening the doors for crypto in retirement accounts. At the same time, this happens all at the same time as China keeps cutting US Treasury holdings, and this starts to depict a quite interesting picture. So first, we need to look at the debt and who owns actually the US debt, and we can see that the foreign-owned debt is quite substantial. It's roughly 1/4, 1/5 of the whole debt, and we can see that how it has been increasing from 2000 to 2014, and then it's been flat, and now it started decreasing actually from 2022. It has peaked in 2022. We also see that when we look at the countries that own this debt, there are very few countries that own most of the debt, and in the first places we see that there is Japan and China. And both of these players, in particular China, they're actually reducing their exposure to the debt, and so they're reducing the amount of treasuries they own. This, of course, has some implications with bond prices with treasury bill prices actually being impacted with yield and having the price actually slow down. That's why the US stablecoins and are in a very unique position to actually play a very key role in today's America, and that's why probably Trump and Besant, they're seeing them as a great opportunity. Why? First of all, let's see Tether playbook. Tether issues USDT coins, so a stable coin pegged to the dollar. And the main feature and the killer feature is that they make this available to anyone with a wallet and anywhere in the world. So you don't need to be registered, and you don't need to have a bank account. You just need a wallet, and somebody can, for example, pay you or transfer you USDT. And they effectively have the same price of the dollar. Why? Because they make sure to actually, as a market maker, they make sure that is indexed to the dollar, and then it keeps the value stable. And how they ensure that? They buy US Treasury bills with the money they receive from buyers, and Treasury bills usually are now yielding around 5% per year. And with this yield, they build an excess cash buffer to ensure liquidity and ensure stability of the coin. And then after that, they actually buy strategic assets, with Bitcoin being one of the main assets they've been purchasing. That's why Tether is very massive BTC treasury. And how does this playbook actually play with the US government playbook and economy playbook? Well, first of all, we need to acknowledge that the supply of USDT of Tether is actually expanding over time a lot. Only in the last year, 42% more. It has grown 42%. And what happens when the supply expands? Well, when the supply expands, we know that demand for US debt increases. So there are more bidders for US debt, and it stabilizes the prices and reduces the yield. That means that the government, first of all, can borrow more money and can increase their spending. Ideally, at least as Trump is advocating, to spend more in to have more productive investments and productive spending. So that type of spending that would be driving GDP higher. That effect, though, of increased spending, of course, the base is the dollar. And then it has inflationary effects because you are actually putting more money in the system. But also, the dollar being the base allows for exports to expand because actually the dollar becomes more appealing and cheaper, and any entrepreneur that starts to actually work in US and take risks in US suddenly has more chances of succeeding with a cheaper dollar. And these combined, I mean, ideally, it seems to be the intention of the government, boosting industrialization, so rebuilding some industries and debasing the dollar so that things can start to be produced again. Some things can start to be produced again in US, and US can afford to sell it abroad. And as a final step, the government is also facilitating nationwide digital asset adoption. As we said, they're making sure that crypto or digital assets, Bitcoin and others, are more easily transacted in the economy and also owned in the economy. And this speculation, of course, but it can be read as, and also by seeing like kind of the Trump family kind of calling for buying Bitcoin and buying crypto. This could be seen as an attempt to make sure that those who hold these assets, even if the dollar gets debased, they still benefit from it. So the dollar gets debased through increased government spending, but assets, as everything else, actually increases in value. And those who acquire those assets actually are protected from the debasement of the dollar. And indeed, this seems to be the masterstroke. As I mentioned, like inflation, the result of this cycle, if you repeat it over and over, it will be definitely inflation. And US dollar debasement. But the US, through these, if they invest wisely and they actually manage to run this properly, they get a shot at reindustrialization. The debt also is inflated away thanks to inflation, of course, and asset prices increase in value, and those owning asset prices actually are protected from the debasement of the dollar. And that was it. That's a wrap. Thank you for watching. Follow us for more on our X community, BTC Treasuries.